It's official. Deshaun Watson is the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. And in the 24 hours since that decision came down, it has managed to make almost nobody outside the organization happy. Not the fans, and certainly not the national media. This was supposed to be the moment that ended the noise. Instead, it's the moment that turned the volume all the way up.
This is ownership unwilling to to admit that they made a tremendous mistake bringing Deshaun Watson in.
That's Marcus Spears on ESPN. Not some fan account, not a burner podcast. A former NFL defensive lineman with a national platform going directly at Cleveland ownership within hours of the announcement. Before we get into how bad this actually got, tell me in the comments, if you ran this front office, are you starting Watson too, or are you finally ripping the Band-Aid off? Because after you hear what actual Browns fans are saying about their own team right now, I don't think this is as close a call as the organization seems to think it is.
I truly do believe the fans are rooting against their hometown team to start the season.
I don't want the guy back next year. Do you?
No.
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 No, absolutely not.
Read those back. That's a local Cleveland radio host. Someone whose entire job is representing this fan base, saying on air that he doesn't want his own team's quarterback to win. That's not a hater from another city. That's Cleveland turning on Cleveland. And when you hear hometown voices saying that out loud on a call-in show, you know this isn't just YouTube commentary chasing outrage for clicks. At minimum, it shows just how deep the frustration has become among some Browns fans. So let's actually walk through what happened, because the timeline here is genuinely wild. This channel has been on this story from the start. 2 videos back, this was about Watson's press conference and what it revealed about his own headspace. 1 video back, this was about the front office decision that put him in this position in the first place. This video is the payoff to both of those, the actual verdict and the reaction to it. If you're new here, that context matters, because none of what's about to happen makes sense without it. Saturday, Watson gets heavily booed in a preseason loss to Buffalo, finishes 5 of 12 for 36 yards with an interception, and then stands at the podium and tells reporters the boos are personal, not about performance. This channel covered that press conference in detail already. This isn't that video. Sunday, national reporters start connecting the dots on what it means for the front office. This channel covered that angle too. Monday morning, less than 48 hours after Watson publicly criticized the reaction from Browns fans, Todd Monken announces Watson as the Week 1 starter against Jacksonville. Shedeur Sanders moves into the backup role. Let that timeline sit for a second. The Browns didn't wait until September to make this decision. They made it 2 days after Watson's ugly preseason outing and the backlash that followed. But here's the important distinction. That doesn't prove the decision was rushed, and it doesn't prove the competition was fake. Todd Monken says the opposite. His actual explanation was that the staff evaluated the entire body of work, off-season, training camp, preseason games, joint practices, and ultimately believed Watson gave Cleveland the best chance to move the ball and score points on the road. That's the official football explanation, and it's worth putting on the table before anyone tears into this decision, because it's the strongest defense the Browns actually have. Worth noting too, Watson himself walked back some of the heat the next day. In his first presser as the confirmed starter, he apologized for the post-game comments and said his emotions got the best of him. That doesn't erase what he said Saturday, but it's part of the full picture. The problem is that the timing made all of that a lot harder to hear. Whatever the Browns' internal evaluation actually looked like, announcing it 48 hours after the ugliest moment of the entire competition made the decision feel rushed to a lot of people watching from the outside, official explanation or not.
It was never a competition. This Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders competition was simply a facade.
That's one national commentator's read, not a confirmed fact. Worth being upfront about that. He's not saying he has a source inside the building who told him it was rigged. He's saying that's how it reads from the outside, given the public perception that Watson didn't clearly separate himself from Sanders in either practice or preseason games. That's an opinion about optics, not a leaked memo. But it's an opinion a lot of people share right now, and that matters for how this decision is landing.
I've never really seen a quarterback, while in the middle of a quarterback competition, call out a fan base, and then the very next day get named the starter.
That's the part that's actually hard to argue with, regardless of where you land on the football decision. Name the guy the starter less than 2 days after he told your own fans their reaction was disrespectful. The optics do the talking, whether the front office meant it that way or not. Monken himself said the comments weren't a factor in his decision for what it's worth. But saying it and having anyone actually believe it 2 days after the fact turned out to be 2 very different things.
Part of the thought process behind naming Deshaun Watson the Browns starter is that they opened the season with 2 road games before returning home in Week 3. That would give Watson 2 games to prove himself away from the fan base.
Sit with that. That's an insider theory from Ari Mayref, not the Browns' official reasoning. Worth being precise about that distinction. Monken's actual explanation, on the record, was about the full body of work and giving Cleveland the best chance to move the ball and score points. If Mayref's read is correct though, it gives Cleveland 2 road games before Watson has to face the home crowd again. That's a very different interpretation from the Browns' official explanation, and it's one reason this decision is being scrutinized so heavily. If that's really part of the calculus, then to me, that's not confidence in the decision. That's damage control dressed up as a game plan. You don't need a 2-week head start on the road if you're confident the home crowd is going to come around on its own. You build in that kind of buffer because you're worried they won't. At least that's how I read it.
This ain't about a damn coach. This ain't about a camp competition. This ain't about who throws the out route better or who can scramble. This is about $230 million.
This is the thesis that connects everything we've covered on this saga. Spears is drawing the exact same line this channel drew in the last video, that this may not be purely a football decision made by Todd Monken in a vacuum. There's a $230 million financial commitment sitting underneath the entire situation, and critics believe that commitment is impossible for the organization to fully separate from the football evaluation, whatever Monken says publicly. Think about what that actually means to the rest of this season. Every single throw Watson makes now gets watched through 2 lenses at once. Is he playing well enough to justify the guarantee? And is he playing well enough to justify the timing of this specific announcement? That's an impossible standard for any quarterback, let alone one coming off multiple injuries and a full year away from regular season football.
And I think that Kevin Stefanski would have been more apt to just go with Shedeur Sanders. But Kevin Stefanski was let go. He's down in Atlanta. Todd Monken has this one chance.
And that's the trap Todd Monken is sitting in right now. He's a first-year NFL head coach with no track record in Cleveland yet, no goodwill in the bank here, making the single most scrutinized decision of the entire NFL offseason, with a contract that predates his arrival and a quarterback situation inherited from the previous regime. If Watson struggles, Monken doesn't get the benefit of the doubt a coach with 6 seasons of history might earn. He gets judged on this decision alone, immediately, by a fan base that's already decided how they feel. It's a brutal spot for a first-time head coach to be in. Most new coaches get a grace period, a few months where fans and media give them room to install their system and make mistakes without it becoming a referendum on their entire tenure. Monken doesn't get that. His very first real quarterback decision landed in the middle of the most emotionally charged storyline in the league, and there was never going to be a version of this where he walked away from it unscathed. There's a version of this where Monken quietly agreed with the money-driven logic and just executed it. There's another version where he genuinely believes on the tape that Watson gives this team the best chance to win right now, full stop. From the outside, there's no clean way to tell those two versions apart, and that ambiguity is exactly what's fueling the frustration, because nobody trusts the explanation enough to just accept it at face value. And that fan base is not hiding how they feel. What's actually happening in Cleveland living rooms and call-in lines right now is some Browns voices going so far as to say they don't want Watson back, while others are openly questioning whether they can even root for the team under this decision. That's an ugly, uncomfortable place for a fan base to be before the regular season has even started, and critics see it as the Browns protecting a massive financial investment instead of making a clean football decision. Think about how rare that actually is in sports. Fans turn on bad owners all the time. They turn on coaches, front offices, even franchise legends who overstay their welcome. It's a lot rarer for a fan base to turn on the very idea of their own team winning in real time, before the season has even kicked off. That's the level this has reached in Cleveland right now.
I can be absolutely pissed off about somebody booing me after I'm laying on the field with a torn Achilles, and they have every right to boo him based on his play and based on what has transpired, giving him $230 million guaranteed to become the franchise quarterback.
That's the most honest sentence anyone said about this entire situation. 2 things can be true at once. Watson can be genuinely hurt by fans cheering an injury, and those same fans can still be angry about his performance and what $230 million guaranteed was supposed to buy this franchise. Neither side cancels the other out. That's the nuance almost nobody wants to sit with right now, because outrage is easier than nuance. It's easier to pick a side, Watson's a victim or Watson's a bust who needs to stop complaining, than to hold both truths at the same time. But holding both is the only honest way to actually understand why this city is this angry about a decision that, on paper, is just naming a starting quarterback. So here's where this actually leaves the Browns. Deshaun Watson is QB1, on a schedule that, if Mayorov's read is right, gives Cleveland 2 road games before Watson has to face the home crowd again. Shedeur Sanders is the backup, sitting there as the obvious alternative if this goes wrong. Todd Monken is the guy who has to defend a decision that critics will read as financial, not football, even with a legitimate on-record football explanation behind it. And a real vocal segment of the fan base has made clear they're not on board. That's not a healthy place for a franchise to start a season from. It's not about talent or scheme anymore. It's about trust. And right now, there isn't much of it left between the fans, the front office, and the quarterback all 3 of them are now tied to going into the start of the season. And that's really the story underneath the story here. Cleveland doesn't just have a quarterback controversy, it has a trust controversy. And quarterback controversies get solved by wins and losses. Trust controversies don't. Even if Watson goes out and plays well in Jacksonville, some fans who have already made up their minds about him may watch that performance looking for reasons it doesn't count, because the way this decision got made has already poisoned how it's received. My prediction? This doesn't survive October. If Watson struggles badly in those first 2 road games, I think the calls for Shedeur become too loud for Monken to ignore. And if Watson somehow wins both, the controversy probably doesn't disappear. It just gets pushed to the Week 3 home opener, in front of a fan base that has already shown exactly how it feels. Either outcome puts Monken right back in front of the same question, just with higher stakes attached. That's what happens when a decision suddenly gets put on a 2-game clock instead of a real evaluation window. You don't actually solve the controversy, you just put a timer on it. Drop your prediction below. Does Watson survive as the starter past Week 3, or is Shedeur getting that job back before October? I'll see you in the next one.